of total revenue, the taxation during Uhuru Kenyatta's time and during President William Ruto's time so far. These figures I have with me, the 9-month performance from both of these governments and also the expenditure plan for the year 2022, 2023, and also comparing the first term of President Uhuru Kenyatta. Here, the other thing that I've seen is KRA, the tax collection, and so far they have collected 714 billion in the last quarter of the financial year to meet that full year target. So the revenue collection for this month of for the month of March has gone up as compared to the month of February, and this is despite various statements from public officials who are saying that the government is broke. So clearly the government isn't broke, and I'll be giving you those numbers in a while. So where is this being directed towards? President Ruto's administration has, however, borrowed 17 billion more than President Uhuru Kenyatta's government, and this is only in the first 6 months of government. This also appends that slow down or this go slow in debt. Analysts whose think pieces have been reading since yesterday are expecting that the Ruto administration is going to cut fresh on borrowing by a larger margin as compared to President Uhuru Kenyatta. How is that going to happen, comparing, given that we now currently are facing a situation where lenders shy of giving money to Kenya due to that fear or that looming fears of recession and also defaulting on these loans. Much more developments on debt service versus tax collection I will be giving you to during the show, and also positivity. There's cheap cooking oil that is coming through, according to CS Moses Kuria, and the Trade Cabinet Secretary said that the shipping or the ferry that is shipping this cheap cooking oil import will dock in the next few days. Over in the roads, CS for that particular docket is working on Mombasa Road. So while I look at Mathri Road to see how the developments are like, I also give you information on what you can expect to alleviate the situation over in Mombasa Road. Already, you have the expressway, and you'll also be looking at that as well in the traffic and transport conditions around the city and also around the towns that you are in. This is going to be an exciting show all the way to 10 in the morning. Please do tell me where you are watching us from. Use the hashtag Biashara Tuesday, as I said. Streaming live, Facebook, YouTube, KUTV Kenya. Tweet me and tag me as well at Richard_OKENYE. Welcome to the show. Let's kick it off. All right, Mathri Root is giving me this information, but you also are. So if you're tweeting us, tag us as well at the handles that you can see on the screen. This is the information about transports and current traffic conditions for the Nairobi city. But if you're outside Nairobi city, kama huyu mwenye ako Mai Mahiu, you can tell me what's that all about or how that's going. Anything on Mai Mahiu, traffic going down, no movement for close to an hour. And this has been happening overnight. There's an overturned trailer in Kijabe as well. It is foggy if you're coming from Mai Mahiu to Nairobi. Those 3 pieces of information we have already received here. Gridlock along Nairobi-Nakuru Highway. Passengers have been stranded at the same spot near Kinungi since 2 a.m. this night. So a lot of people wanaelekea Nakuru or coming back this way doesn't look good for you. Nairobi-Nakuru Highway is it is the overlappers. So this is Luchivia saying that the overlappers and tailgaters paradise. Total mayhem, which is leading to that regular gridlock, which is being witnessed there. Heavy traffic jam as well at Kinembe since around 4 a.m. Avoid that route. Use Mai Mahiu instead. So Njoroge Pato is saying that's not the correct name. It's not whatever I said there. It's Kimende. I don't know what Aussie Light is saying there, but avoid Kimende and also avoid the other one that I already said. If you missed it, too bad for you. Major traffic approaching Kimende. A truck has overturned there. There was carjacking yesterday at the Embu-Nairobi highway. The road is partially blocked with stones. One matatu was hijacked as they were trying to maneuver through the stones. Drivers are told to take caution. I'm hoping that the officials are ready, psyched up to that kind of situation, and also helping whoever is in danger there through that situation. No more traffic updates I'm seeing here from Mombasa Road, kumeshikana sana, and I was going to tell you what is happening on Mombasa Road. Here, CS Murkomen says that as from next week, the government is planning to build footbridges on Mombasa Road starting next week, and they're going to be 3 of them, costing 1.2 billion shillings. The construction of these 3 footbridges along Mombasa Road will start next week to ease access to the SGR Syokimau terminus and stem pedestrian fatalities along that busy highway. So what on Mombasa Road, there's relief coming your way apart from what you already have in the name of the expressway. But definitely the footbridges are free, but the expressway, you have to pay a token for the ETC or the other option that you have there, which is the manual option that you pay every single time you're on the expressway. Those are all the updates we have on the roads, but continue giving them to us. We'll be looking at them. When we are coming back, I'll be highlighting the news updates from yesterday night. KUTV News, primetime news yesterday night, 9 p.m., hosted by one Ann Odita, and then also looking at the developments all across the world. And then we get back to business. So don't touch that dial. Been developing around the world. I want you to keep in mind 26-year-old Alex Kemboi, who has been an aspirant for a member of parliament in Keses parliamentary race last year, went against big wigs and also has been doing peaceful campaigns in the past week. Going to be sitting with him here. He had a very good manifesto, and I've been perusing it from yesterday to this morning. The most important one that he was looking at is digitizing every learning institution within the constituency, and this was going to happen in partnership with the ICT authority. He's very keen on matters of software development, and that's the conversation we're having here this morning. I told you earlier that on this show, we take a look at business, technology, and also the economy. On technology today, software development with Alex Kemboi. What has the journey been so far in matters of software development in the country, and how can we implement this across all institutions? What benefits are we going to realize from digitization of this regard? But also, now that we've seen the proliferation of artificial intelligence, how is this going to affect our jobs? How is this going to affect us as a republic? And how can we accordingly adjust to this development? So Alex Kemboi is coming through to you in a short while. Don't miss him when we have that discussion. If you have any questions in matters of software development, if you want to jump ship, because I think that's what most people would like to do at the moment, jumping ship towards technology, this is a show to watch. Ask all the questions that you want, or what areas you want to specialize in or you want to take a look at. We'll be giving that to you in a while. But also, other conversations that are happening here. Samson Toniok is the CEO of NetFund. He's a seasoned management executive and has been with more than 15 years of progressive experience. But we're also going to be having a discussion about NetFund with Dr. James Njau, who's the CEO as well there at NetFund. What does NetFund do in matters of sustainability, and how can we also plug in to that kind of opportunity? In the newspaper review today, as I teased earlier, we also have a look at the headlines, the developments on the dailies this morning. I saw that the conversation about culticism in Kenya has been highlighted as the key story on front of all the dailies. I'll be telling you what the headlines are like, also on the Business Daily, the development in business. Kimani Wachira who was on the show before to speak about the TVET institutions in the country. He is the president of the TVET Students Associations. He'll be here to delve deep into matters of what is happening and what has been written today morning on the newspapers. The physical copies go for 60 shillings, but you can get yourself a soft copy for, I think, 10 or 20 shillings, and then we'll be comparing notes as we go on with the show. The developments from your world, KUTV News updates, here they are. Don't go far.
Are you an aspiring media practitioner, a graduate, or you just want to advance your skills in television production? Then welcome to Kenyatta University, where education meets innovation. KUTV, the premier university television station in Kenya, is now offering short courses in TV studio, field technical operations, and video editing. Through these courses, you will acquire hands-on skills on camera operations, media production, lighting techniques, audiovisual editing, and sound and visual control, and how to operate key equipment in modern TV control room. Enroll today at KUTV and discover your full potential in cutting-edge TV broadcasting. Graduates of these courses will receive professional certificates. For more information, visit our offices at KUTV Studios or call us on 020-870-4252 or 020-870-4255 or SMS us on 0739-110-544. KUTV, a new experience.
Access to knowledge, solution to unanswered questions.
Guidelines to pursuing your rights and repossessing your property, intellectual or material.
This and more only on Law Matters.
Baada ya kutafuta kazi, tunaweza kuanzisha miradi yetu ambayo ingetusaidia kubadilisha maisha ya wazazi wetu.
Kwa vijana wenzangu, wengi wale hawana kazi, lakini ikiwa sisi wenyewe tutajiamini, tunaweza kujiajiri wenyewe.
Afrika kwa kweli tuna mahitaji ambayo ukiyasuluhisha unaweza kuathiri watu kwenye bara hili.
Bila woga, watu huwa na uzalishaji zaidi, wanajawa na ujasiri, wanakuwa wabunifu na wanakuwa wenye maarifa.
Niliamua kuacha kazi, hata kama sitafanikiwa, nitakuwa nimejaribu, nitakuwa najua haiwezekani.
Hakuna kitu cha ajabu hapa. Kila anayepata ufanisi hufanya kazi usiku na mchana.
Kitu kitakusukuma na kuwezesha kupata maarifa ambayo hukuwa nayo.
Tunajaribu kutengeneza kitu kitakachopita mipaka ya nchi hii.
Ikiwa unataka kubadilisha ulimwengu, anza na nyumbani.
Tunakula usiku. Tuachane na break kwanza, tuende lunch. Chapo. Yoyo. Kama ndimo.
Rasha piga shada kuna giza. Sikinai tujinai siweke story. Kata maji pia shada liko nasio nikosa msuko si stress. Kama rende kisha basi nipe. Najua ni nini.
Big up, brother, ukiwa adliva big up, sis, big up, shows, mama, big up, oya, wase wote, okay, my principal, big up.
technology, science, innovation, ICT and research. These are the ingredients upon which the solutions to the 21st century problems are founded. In a world that is rapidly changing, it's all hands on deck to ensure a balance in all fields of life. Women, young and old, are also in the front line, breaking the glass ceiling, becoming thought leaders in the larger tech space. Not forgetting other societies marginalized. And when the tech Avengers come together, we inch closer to a much safer, efficient, and sustainable world. What we view as a norm in today's advanced world was just an idea, and for nostalgic reasons, we trace back to the iconic days to bring you the retro tech. On Technovation Show, we encapsulate all the pillars of the fourth industrial revolution, decoded in a language, all for one for all. Every Monday at 8:30 as we push the mantra, keep learning something new each and every day. Only on KUTV, a new experience.
Kurunzi ya kilimo huimarisha afya na uchumi endelevu katika jamii. Ni msingi mkubwa wa kipindi Boresha Kilimo. Kipindi hiki kinajikita katika teknolojia ya kisasa, utafiti na ushirikishaji wa wadau wa kilimo kuonyesha shughuli mbalimbali shambani. Kwa suluhu ya utoshelevu wa chakula, tazama Boresha Kilimo.
To the Church O'Clock Show. I'm your host, Esther Becky.
And my name is DJ Terror.
We start you off with a word of prayer and get you started with a live transformational worship experience. And have our minds renewed by the word of God on the word segment.
And not forgetting new music za hii wiki, yani ndakuwa bado nawapatia pale wasanii wamekuwa kiwakali. So make sure manzo umetune in because zitakuwa zina flow pia pale mixes kwa wingi, yani zitakuwa zina come through, and pia performance yani from our gospel artist hapa on Gospel Art
from 7 to
10 a.m. only on KUTV.
Keep tweeting at KUTV Kenya. Use the hashtag Biashara Tuesday. Tag me at Richard_OKENYE. Welcome to the show. If you're joining us for the first time, where are you watching us from? How is it like the morning there? If you're watching us for another time, what brought you back? What would you like to see on the show today? We'll keep that in mind. But right about now, we are getting into a very interesting conversation. I think last week, I was looking back at the show. I said that we are addressing the most important conversation of our time. It so happens that every single Tuesday, I feel like the conversation I'm having at that time is the most important conversation of our generation. And today, I have to say that for sure this one is software development in the Republic. In Kenya, how has software development been changing, and how can we adjust with emerging technologies that are been seen from last year. OpenAI released ChatGPT. This is a chatbot technology that you can prompt for various tasks that you use. It is the fastest growing technology in history. In the first month alone, it had amassed millions of subscribers. Right now, I think it is over hundreds of millions, and the possibilities of what this technology can do are endless. We're trying to see how can you adjust and adapt to these developments in the world of technology. And if you want to get into this space, software development and its adjacent fields, what can you do to prepare yourself, and how ready can we get generally as a nation? Here with me is Alex. He has been an aspirant for Member of Parliament. He'll be telling us how that was, the journey in politics, but also he's a software developer, and he's going to also inform us where he practices that at, and also how the lessons have been so far, and how you can learn, or what you can learn from him. Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much, Richard.
Right. Introduce yourself to our viewers here. I don't know if you want to go with the political angle or a software developer, but the floor is yours.
Okay, thank you so much, Richard. My name is Alex Kimboy. I was born in Lingwai village, found in Tarakwa location, Kese sub-county in Uasin Gishu County. I went to school at Lingwai Primary School, proceeded to Chebara High School, then I got admitted to KISS University, where I studied software engineering. And in 2022, I was lucky to be among the few candidates who ran for office. And I want to say it was a great experience running for office, sharing my ideas with the constituents of KSS. And I want to take this opportunity to thank them for voting me and telling me to wait for the next election.
Right.
Yes.
They told you to wait for the next election, so it's, as you said, it's a dream deferred, yeah?
Yes.
The dream is still going on. So in 2027, look out for Alex in the constituency of KSS. How was the experience like, campaigning and going into the ballot?
Yeah, so running for office in Kenya is one of the most challenging ventures that you can venture as a young man. Especially in Kenya is an African country where they still believe on people who have advanced in age. And as a young man or as a youth who decided to pursue politics at an early age, it was a great opportunity for me to learn. Number one, in terms of resources. You are required to have a lot of resources. For example, during the nominations process, the parties in Kenya requires you to pay the nomination fees, which most of the youths do not afford to raise such a big amount. The process itself, the nomination process, is mad with a lot of irregularities, a lot of fraudery, and they are never fair. So in the process, you realize that young people are pushed away, and those ones with money have their way. Going to convince the electorates, telling them about the big ambitions that you have. They get to wonder, we took you to school to go and study software engineering. Why are you coming again to pursue politics? Was one of the biggest challenge. But I must say that it was a great experience. And I want to encourage young people that let us go for these positions, because in Kenya right now, we have so many good people who don't want to participate in politics, which is policy making. And the punishment that we get as good people is be ruled by fools. But if we take over as good people and participate in politics, then we will get good leaders who are going to transform our country and make our country to be a better place. Right.
The punishment that we get as if we don't do our selection well, we don't participate in the democratic process, is that we get to be led by fools.
Yes.
I don't think I will say further than that. Let people be thinking about it. You said that when you went back, part of the challenge was trying to convince the people back home that, you send me to school to study software development. I'm back here trying to do politics. You had a manifesto. How was that like?
After going to school and studying software engineering for 4 years, my mind was opened, and I saw the power that we can use in software development to change our community. For example, I had this manifesto where I wanted to install internet in all our villages. We have like 5 locations in KSS sub-county. And I had this dream that if I'm elected as the Member of Parliament, I was going to install internet in every village. With internet, you can do so much. Young people can start working on their smartphone on remote jobs and making money. In the process, we address the issue of unemployment. I had this manifesto of creating a state-of-the-art modern facility in cases, a hub, where young people can go do their recording. For example, if they are musician, if they are, if they have any talent, they get a place where they can freely go and do their things. They want maybe to do graphic design. They want to pursue maybe machine learning. They want to do things in data engineering, and maybe they don't have money to buy these machines. So I was thinking that we can use the money, that the taxpayers' money, we create a state-of-the-art facility, install computers there, have internet, hire experts who can train our young people at home, and in the process address these issues of unemployment in Kenya. But I want to tell you, Richard, one thing, that immediately when I accepted to lose the election, I forwarded my manifesto to the current MP, and I hope that he's going to act. Because at the end of the day, it's not about who gets to do it. It's about the work being done.
Right.
Yes.
Sounds like a leader there. I think I would want that to be my member of parliament. Hopefully the people of KSS are listening, and also hopefully that the current member of parliament, what's the name of the current MP?
It's called Julius Ruto.
Yes, hopefully that Bwana Julius Ruto is getting to implement some of those things that you forwarded to him. Something interesting I noted, that in your constituency, since the residents, since independence, have only elected one member of parliament for more than one term. And this happened in 1992. How's that? Is that, I don't think I've seen that where I come from or in places where I've tried to reside. How is it possible that since 1963, there's only been one member of parliament who's gone for 2 terms?
It has been hotly
contested.
Yes, it has been hotly contested in the past, and it has been also a loss to us as the people of cases, because we elect a member of parliament for 4 years. He comes up with ideas. Some of these ideas cannot be implemented in 5 years. So in the process, we end up losing as the constituents of cases. But the cases people are people who embrace change very fast. And if you come with new ideas and they believe in them, they will surely elect you irrespective of your background. We were a constituency, we elected, let me call him a foreigner. He was an Indian. Mishra Kiprop wasn't a Kalenjin, because the dominant community in cases is Kalenjin.
Right.
But we elected an Indian to be an MP. We gave him an opportunity to do what he did. And right now, they've elected Julius. They've given him an opportunity to also do the same. So I think it's both good, and it also we're also losing it, because some of the ideas that we have, or what these leaders have, might not be implemented within the 5 years. They might even require longer time, like 10 years.
Right. ICT and technology is one of those ideas that you're trying to bring forth, creating an ICT business park to make KSS Kenya's ICT hub. What was the vision around ICT and technology?
Yeah, my vision is we have so many young people. At some point during the hotly contested election, there's a young man from Cheptiret ward who was arrested simply because he was termed as is it a robber, stealing money from people's phone. But to me, that is a talent that we need to tap, and we make sure that we don't let those ideas and the innovativeness that the young people in cases have, we put it into implementation. I was thinking of having a software factory in cases. When we have a software factory, we start creating our own softwares. We will not have to procure softwares from other countries like China. Right now, the systems that are being used by most of the government organizations in Kenya here, like KRA, for example, are using softwares that have been procured from other countries. But I strongly believe that in Kenya right now, the software developers that we have in Kenya can develop these softwares for us, and we instead of exporting our cash, we retain our money here, and we get to give employment to our young people. So the ICT park in cases was going to really be a game changer. but I still strongly believe that we will still get it done at some point.
Right. Putting cases on the map, yeah, so that the rest of Kenya can know that this is going to be an ICT hub as you promised, yeah, as you envisioned it. Now, Alex, my mother is watching this show, and her question will be, what in the name of God is software? What exactly is software? There's a whole generation of people who only experienced hardware, and now when they hear software development, they hear artificial intelligence. All these things can be a bit confusing. Maybe we start there from layman's explanation. What is software, and what is software development?
Okay, so software are a set of instructions that helps a computer user to perform a particular tasks. In a layman's language, most people are calling them apps. You'll hear somebody talking about send me app ya sender, send me an app for maybe browsing, doing that. That is a software. So ideally, softwares are a set of instructions written by programmers that helps you as a computer user to perform a specific task. Maybe you want to perform some calculations in a computer. The hardware doesn't do that for you. It's the software that does the calculations for you, because there's some logic written behind it that helps you to perform those arithmetic calculations. So ideally, that is what a software is. While software development now is the whole process of coming up with a software, starting from the phase of idea, coming up with an idea, all through the process of design, requirements, gathering, the process of the actual system construction, where you write the code, the process of testing, doing maintenance, up to the stage of deployment, where the users can now use the software. So ideally, software is the product, while software development now is the process of coming up with this product. Right.
How has the software development industry in Kenya evolved over the past 10 years that you've been in this space?
The software development in Kenya has really evolved, and I'm really looking forward to even more changes in the coming days, because more people have started embracing software development in Kenya. Right now, most businesses are being run through a software. If you go to hospitals, they're using softwares to do management of their processes. If you go to learning institutions right now, they have so many types of softwares that they're using to perform their tasks. So ideally, in Kenya right now, most people have embraced technology. And I want to urge even some of the government organizations that have not embraced the use of technology. For example, we can digitalize the land recording system in Kenya, so that if you want, for example, to get your title very fast, you just do it online, and you're good to go. So I think the future is bright, and it's just a matter of time, and we get good to go.
As someone who's been in politics, do you think maybe eventually we'll be able to vote from our home? I see this happen even in the United States, where someone can cast a vote, send it through a ballot, send it through a post office, and it gets there and it's counted as a valid vote. Maybe to reduce that process, do you think maybe there's going to be a time I can just vote for Alex right through my phone? Or is that a possibility you envision at any point?
Already the signs are there, Richard. Okay. You must have seen in the 2022 election, there was a public portal where results were being sent from a polling station all through to a public portal. And you, as a mathematician or somebody with a calculator, you could just take a calculator, download the forms, perform the calculations for yourself, and you have the results. I wonder when I hear people complain about the results, when actually there was a portal where results were posted there. So the future is very luminous, and I strongly believe that in the next, let me give 10 years. By 2032, we should not be going physically to vote in a polling station. You should just be able to vote on your phone. Already other countries are doing it. I'm sure Kenya can also do it.
Right, definitely. Something that has been happening to software developers, I'm sure you've noticed this, is brain drain, especially in Kenya. When big tech came to Nairobi, the likes of Safaricom and its brothers were complaining that, these people are being given hefty salaries, and then they're moving all their services to Microsoft or to Google or to Meta and the rest of big tech. Is there a role that government can play in supporting software development in the country, so that, for me, we don't lose this kind of talent? Is it possible, and in what way do you envision that happening?
Now, it's very unfortunate that the Salaries and Remuneration Commission in Kenya has a standard way of paying all its employees. And I really think that the members of parliament that we have right now and the commissioners in that commission can really come up with new policies so that we reward people depending on their work they are doing, not necessarily the point they are joining the employment. For example, you see software development, you spend late nights, you wake up very early, we spend a lot of money in school learning, you spend a lot of energies coming up with these softwares, and if you are not rewarded based on what you did, then if Microsoft comes and tells me, Alex, I'm giving you this 6-figure salary, I'll not say no, because right now we have bills that we're supposed to pay. The economy in Kenya right now is not doing very well. I'll quickly take that remote job that is paying me well and leave this job that is paying peanuts here in Kenya. So ideally, the role the government can play is let them have a good payment plan for all its employees, rewarding them based on the work they are doing, not necessarily the year of joining employment.
Right, definitely. And the government has a very key role, of course, in ensuring, because even when it comes to regulation, I think the government will be there. So it's important that they support the development as they also look at matters of regulation. Now, while we are still on software development in Kenya, a few weeks ago, I was on social media, actively on Twitter. You can continue tagging us at Richard_OKENYE at KUTV Kenya. So there was a discussion, a very heated debate between two factions of the world of technology. On one side, there were people who had undertaken computer science courses and related courses in university for 5 or so years. And then there's others who are self-trained. As we've come to know, the internet is a place of vast resources, so you can train yourself to be a software developer. Many of them, I'm sure, some could be your friends that you know who are self-trained software developers. And there was a bit of friction between these people who went through the curriculum and these people who trained themselves, each pointing fingers at the inadequacy of the other, saying that if you went to school, there's nothing relevant, industry relevant that you got to learn. But if you didn't go to school as well, they're also being told that you missed on a few key pointers that were necessary for you to attend school so that you can learn. Is software development something that I can train myself and be confident, or do I need to go to school? As someone who went to school to study this.
So I have 2 quick things to say about that. Number one, we have people who found themselves in maybe computer science or software engineering, not by design. They were just placed by the Central Placement Service in Kenya. Then we have this other person who is passionate, who just decided that instead of going to college, I want just to get myself a computer and internet, because they are very clear on what they want to do. So irrespective of how you studied, at the end of the day, we look at the skill sets that you have, the expertise that you've acquired, and I think that is what is important to employers. I think CBC is going to address that issue, and I'm really hoping also that the curriculum, the Institute of Curriculum Development here in Kenya is going to review the curriculum of computer science in Kenya, so that we make sure that we teach our learners the skill set that is required by employers out here. This self-taught engineer just studies what employers need. But while in school, right now, the curriculum that we have there, you have to follow some set curriculum that might not necessarily be in line with the employer's current status right now. Because also the employment sector has been evolving. The technologies that are being used by these companies right now have evolved. But this learner who is learning at home has the luxury to choose a specific thing or a current technology that is being used. But the disadvantage of a learner in school, you will just be after passing exams, passing the cuts, and not necessarily getting the skills and getting the degree, of course, and not necessarily getting the skills that the companies currently expect. So ideally, at the end of the day, for me, is hard work will make the difference because everybody is smart. The guy who learned at home is smart. The guy who went to school is smart. But now, whoever will work hard will be the best.
Right. How can then, how do you feel universities and institutions of higher learning can get to adapt to the changing trends in technology? And I think from then we can get to look at some of those emerging trends in software. But first, how can universities, Kenyatta University, University of Nairobi, public institutions, high school, how do you think they can get to keep pace with the developments in the world of tech?
One is I really look forward to most of these learning institutions in Kenya collaborating with these companies. Let us have Microsoft come to KU here, build a hub, and start incubating the learners and tutoring them and showing them the technologies that they are doing. Let them also partner with these companies for things like attachments and internships, so that these learners, after learning in class, these comrades straight go to those companies where they go do exactly what they learned in class. But right now, what is happening in Kenya, because of the lack of employment, you get a computer scientist who is working as a security personnel at a gate, something that is so much at breaking. So I think one thing that universities should do is come up with one of the best strategies of making sure that all the graduates get a place immediately they graduate.
Right. All right. I'm hoping that university stakeholders are having a look at this. When it comes to emerging technologies, before I get into it, let me just real quick bring people up to speed. The popular chatbot from AI company OpenAI, that is ChatGPT, amassed 57 million users in the first month of launch last year in November. By January, it had 100 million users and actually 13 million active independently active users per day. I think the word they usually use is the fastest growing consumer application in history. To put this into context, TikTok took about 9 months before it got to 100 million users. Instagram took 2.5 years before it got to 100 million users. It is estimated that by December of this year, ChatGPT is going to have double of these 13 million unique visitors that it currently is experiencing. These are emerging technologies which are sprouting all across the world, and there's a couple of fears, yeah? But before we get into the fears, what can we do to keep pace individually? You know, someone who's watching this, maybe there's a fear that, oh, this AI and all these developments are going to replace me from my job, which is, I think, the number one fear that everyone has, or I'm going to get too dumb and technology will get too smart and eventually it takes over. Is that going to be a possibility? But how can we keep pace fast before we address the fears?
I want to use a calculator to explain this.
Right.
When I was in school, I remember when we were in Form 1, our mathematics teacher used to deny us to use a calculator. But I used to think, even if you give me a calculator and I'm not good in mathematics, I'll not score everything. A calculator is just a tool that helps you to perform your arithmetic operations.
Right.
These ChatGPT and these intelligent softwares that have been created by software developers, ideally they work like a calculator. They're only meant to make your work easier. For example, you want to write an email quickly. You have your own ideas, but maybe you don't have time to write a very long email. So you give it your ideas, it quickly generates an email for you. So what this intelligent system has done is just make your work easier. If maybe you are using 20 minutes to write the email, you use 10 minutes, and then you can use the other 10 minutes to do some other things, thus saving on time. So people should not be worried at all about these intelligent systems, because basically these intelligent systems, they've been created by human being. A computer, be it intelligent as it is, it will always require a human interaction. No intelligent system works on its own,
right,
including an automated teller machine. It is an automated teller machine, yes, but for you to get the cash out of it, it requires a human being.
Right.
A human. You cannot remove.
You can come and stand there and wait for it to know you need some money.
Exactly. You will always need a human being to train this intelligence system, and we might lose some jobs, yes, but it also creates some jobs in return.
Yeah.
So there's nothing to worry about. Let us move with speed. I'm told when calculator was invented, mathematics teachers went on road and worker strike.
Right.
I'm seeing people also they also want to do that, but I don't think it's the way to do. The wisest person is those ones that move with change and adapt with change. This is a new technology that has come. I hope that all of us in Kenya and all over in the world are going to move with this change, embrace it, and use it to make our work easier.
Right. Embrace it. Just like during the industrialization period, when machines came in, there was a lot of, commotion. What about our factory jobs? The conveyor belt. So many things have happened. Automation has been a discussion all across generations. So I think it's important, as you said there, that the wisest person is who moves with change. For someone who's trying to get into the world of software development, a young person who's watching us, how would you advise them to approach it?
I want first to congratulate all the Form 4 graduates who are expecting to join school maybe starting this May up to September. As you pick your different careers, look at the end game. End game is normally the most important thing. Please do a course that you have a good plan for it after school. If you do technical courses, for example, computer science is a technical course. You're assured of self-employment even as you wait for employment ahead, maybe from the government or even from the private organizations. So I would really advise young people to consider technical courses such as, we have courses like cake baking. Did you know that cake baking make a lot of money?
Oh,
people do
I know
make
now.
a lot. Yes, people make a lot of money from baking cakes and selling cakes here in town. People make a lot of money from fashion design. Courses that requires you to use your creativity, come up with innovative solutions. When clients embrace them, you start making money out of it. So I would really encourage young people to consider pursuing technical courses. Let us avoid these they are called white collar jobs. You want to pursue a course that will lead you to a white collar job. Right now the route is
towards creativity
courses.
and innovation.
Yes,
that's a very good way to put it. I'll come back to get your last remark, but surprise, I have a game for you. I don't know if you were aware, but now you are, yeah? Okay. So I'm also not aware of what we are doing, so I'm going to get I'm trying to get information from my producer and director. Bwana Ryan Ngure is giving us questions, and then we are going to be writing our answers. So it's a game that me and you play. Usionyeshe majibu yako. Do it like we did it in primary school. Unaficha hivi kidogo. Yeah, so we are going to get questions, and then after we are going to mark. Alafu tuone nani ako sharp, yeah? Nani hakulala class during when it was so there's going to be a timer for each of the questions that you are receiving as well. So when the timer runs out, una chill. Alafu tutasoma the next question. Are you ready?
Okay, I'm ready.
When is the last time you sat for an exam?
It has been, but I've done some online tests recently. I also still do job hunting, so.
Okay. So there's those interview questions as well.
Yes.
Let's go. The first question is here. Are we ready? Who is the person who started Amazon.com? Play timer. All right, those 10 seconds per question. Next question, what does IPO stand for? All right, time's up for that one. Third question, here we go. With more than 2.8 billion active users per month as of 2021, what is the name of the biggest social media platform in the world? What? I really hope it is. To copy. Let's go. Fourth question. Who is Tesla Motors CEO? Yes, we are. If you fail, they know. They will know. All right. 10 seconds gone. Number 5. Which corporation operates more than 11,000 locations globally and is the largest retailer in the world? Let's get it again. Sorry. Let's get it again. The question goes, which corporation operates more than 11,000 locations globally and is the largest retailer in the world? If you're at home, by the way, you can also be participating. Give me your answers right after we're done with this. Here is question number 6. With a market share of more than 92% as of 2021, what is the name of the biggest search engine in the world? Right. Here goes the last question. Which is the currency used in Japan? And then someone wrote, sorry. Which is the currency used in Japan? Let's go. All right, I am ready for the answers. Acha niandike hapa juu jina yangu usienda ukasema ni yako. Hakuna remarking, so this is going to be final. All right. Question number 1 was, who started Amazon.com? That is Jeff Bezos, right? Previously the richest man in the world. Currently in the top 3, I don't know where, but still billions of money. Sorry tumepata. Ni mzee Bezos. All right. Question number 2, what does IPO stand for? The answer is, he wrote Internet Protocol. I wrote Initial Public Offering. Yes, sir. Hiyo umeuma nje mzee. Sasa
hiyo lazima ningegonga nje. So this is right?
Yes, that's right.
Initial Public Offering.
Yes, please. IPO stands for Initial Public Offering.
So what's that?
It's what companies do when they are going public for the first time.
Okay.
So what shares trade for in the first day. With more than 2.8 million active users per month as of 2021, what is the name of the biggest social media platform? He wrote Twitter. Twitter has 300 million users per month, so that won't be it.
So
I wrote Facebook. Yes, it's Facebook. Let's go. Next question. Who's the Tesla Motors CEO? Man, Musk like Elon. Mi ndo nimepata.
Ujamaa wewe ulikuwa na ile kitu.
Anasema tufungue servers. Next question. Operates more than 11,000 locations globally and is the largest retailer in the world. He wrote Coca-Cola. I wrote Amazon. Walmart. What? Hakuna Walmart Kenya, so I guess that's why.
Okay.
Nimezaa Kamindi Selfridges. Right. With a market share of more than 92%, which is the largest search engine in the world. Has to be Google, right? Asidhani kama kuna ingine. Right. Next question, which is the last question. Currency used in Japan, the Japanese yen. So amepata hii. Any 1, 2, 3 out of 3. Hiyo swali kwa ngapi? 7. 0, 7. See me. That's my comment. See me in the office after this.
This is not very bad.
All right, thank you very much.
Thank you so much for inviting me.
The answers. The marks amepata. Amesema yake tutafungua server baadaye. I got I only missed Walmart, so it's 6 out of 7. Thank you very much. Yeah, that's an A. I would join a very good school if I was graduating high school. Thank you very much for participating in that fun session and also giving us information on software development. Maybe finally, how can the software development industry in Kenya attract more investment and funding? We know that there are startups which are looking towards integrating AI within their systems, innovating around technology, and mostly, I think every startup, or as many startups I've tried to interact with, one of the core initial members is usually a dev. Yeah, there's the CEO, there's whoever his co-founder is. Most likely it's usually a dev, but there's always has to be a dev in the team. What more can we do to attract more investment and funding into Kenya?
I want to congratulate the CEO of TechLead Africa. What she did is started doing whatever she was able to do, and went pitched his ideas to investors, and investors decided to invest their money. Because what happens currently is we have people with a lot of money, but they don't know where to invest. So as software developers, we need to also learn, get some writing skills, write very nice proposals, take these proposals to investors. Let us go pitch our ideas in these boot camps, in these hackathons, in these forums. And I'm sure there's an eye which is always watching and will be willing to invest their money on the ideas that we have. As long as we have any creative idea, I'm sure no one will resist to invest their money in it. So I want to encourage all software developers, either beginners or at senior level, that let us participate in these public forums. Let us go pitch our ideas. Let us go tell people stories about the things we are doing. And I'm sure there's always an eye that is watching and will invest in our ideas.
All right, let's keep innovating, and the world is always watching. I think there's no way you can stifle a good idea whose time has come. So if you're innovating around software development, don't give up. I think this is the time. This is the most opportune moment in history for anyone who's trying to get into that kind of space, and they will definitely reap big into the future. Let me read a couple of feedback here, which is also to you. So maybe unaweza react to some of these people who are watching the show. Frederick Akiri, always ready to beat this cold in the UK and watch Biashara Tuesday, #KUTV. Great insights of leadership and governance. He is enjoying the show. Isaac Kimutai Kimtel, keep up the good work Mhesh. Mtandao ndio form. Yeah, I think this is someone who's been following your work in politics even from back then. Momi Foundation, yes. Let's changing computer science curriculum is the best way to go. It will help us achieve the talent
the CEO of
want in the
Momi
future.
Is my classmate.
Ah, all right.
He studied electrical engineering, but decided to shift to software engineering, and currently working for remote companies in the US.
All right.
So you realize that it gives you an opportunity to work remotely for even companies that are not necessarily here in Kenya or even in Africa.
And you're paid in dollar rates.
In dollar. So when the dollar goes up here in Kenya,
wewe mambo yako iko shwari
kabisa.
If the shilling is weakening and you're working remotely, that's to you, that's an advantage. However, we are also trying to make sure that you're paid while you're here. And these dollars ikifika, you also invest here in the country.
Yeah, so a big hello to Ezron.
Right. Shout out to Ezron there, Momi Foundation. We are seeing you on the show. He's also saying that he believes software can be developed by the Kenyan community in tech, and he agrees with all your sentiments as regards to software development. Thank you very much, Alex, for creating time for us this morning.
Thank you so much, Richard.
Say hi to the people of KSS when you're back there, for another period of campaigns in the next 5 years. Wishing you all the best, but even in between, we are welcoming you back to discuss more on software development, governance, and leadership.
Yeah, in case there's an investor who wants to invest in our ICT park in KSS, feel free to visit KSS. We have a higher learning institution called Moi University here. There's a lot of space. We can do it there.
All right.
Yes.
Any shout out to the people of KSS before I close this up?
To all of them who believes in me, I say a big hello to you and a good day ahead.
All right, a good day ahead, but keep it here on Biashara Tuesday on Twitter. The hashtag you are using is the hashtag Biashara Tuesday. All the feedback I'm reading is on the platforms we are streaming live from, which is KUTV Facebook and also KUTV Kenya Live on YouTube. Coming up next is that conversation with NetFund, and I am speaking with the director resource at NetFund. We're trying to see what is the mandate of NetFund and what exactly they're doing in matters of sustainability and environmental funding. The newspaper review will be coming to you, so grab yourself a copy of the dailies. I'll be right back.
Are you an aspiring media practitioner, a graduate, or you just want to advance your skills in television production? Then welcome to Kenyatta University, where education meets innovation. KUTV, the premier university television station in Kenya, is now offering short courses in TV studio, field technical operations, and video editing. Through these courses, you will acquire hands-on skills on camera operations, media production, lighting techniques, audiovisual editing, and sound and visual control, and how to operate key equipment in modern TV control room. Enroll today at KUTV and discover your full potential in cutting-edge TV broadcasting. Graduates of these courses will receive professional certificates. For more information, visit our offices at KUTV Studios or call us on 020-870-4252 or 020-870-4255 or SMS us on 0739-110-544. KUTV, a new experience.
Kama walivyosema Waswahili, basi mwacha mila ni mtumwa. Kwa hivyo kwenye hiki kipindi, mpenzi mtazamaji, tutakuwa tunaangazia mila na desturi za Waswahili, yani miji kenda.
Nasikira zukulu wangu.
Mtoto wa kike alikuwa anatakiwa hata akifikia umri ule wa kuolewa basi awe bado ni bikira.
Focus on Health is a show that creates awareness on matters health and informs you on various diseases, their causes, treatment, prevention, coping, and support. So join me, Bari Michelle, every Thursday at 7:30 p.m. only on KUTV. You can also follow us on our social media platforms at KUTV Focus on Health on Facebook and also on YouTube, and Health Focus on Instagram, because your health is your wealth. Stay safe and stay healthy.
Access to knowledge, solution to unanswered questions.
Guidelines to pursuing your rights and repossessing your property, intellectual or material.
This and more, only on Law Matters.
Kipindi hewani ni mitindo ya kipwani. Kama ilivyo kipindi hiki kinahusu nyimbo za tarab, chakacha, midwara, midundiko, bila kusahau mapishi. Ambao ndio uti wa mgongo wa pwani ya Afrika Mashariki.
Jamani, swaibu zangu mliopo maskani, hatuonani wenzangu,
Najua mwanitamani.
Hapa KUTV, nahodha mwendesha chombo cha baharini, yani ua linalonukia na kuvutia waridi tamu.
Technology, science, innovation, ICT and research. These are the ingredients upon which the solutions to the 21st century problems are founded. In a world that is rapidly changing, it's all hands on deck to ensure a balance in all fields of life. Women, young and old, are also in the front line, breaking the glass ceiling, becoming thought leaders in the larger tech space. Not forgetting other societies marginalized. And when the tech Avengers come together, we inch closer to a much safer, efficient, and sustainable world. What we view as a norm in today's advanced world was just an idea, and for nostalgic reasons, we trace back to the iconic days to bring you the retro tech. On Tech Innovation Show, we encapsulate all the pillars of the fourth industrial revolution, decoded in a language, all for one for all. Every Monday at 8:30 as we push the mantra, keep learning something new each and every day. Only on KUTV, a new experience.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to a special interview with the National Environment Trust Fund, NETFund. It's a state corporation mandated to mobilize resources for sustainable environmental management in Kenya. NETFund's mission is to facilitate research, generate and manage financial resources for environmental management, and this is going to provide capacity building to achieve sustainable development in Kenya. In this interview, we're going to be speaking with the Director Resource, that is Dr. James Njau, who is here to help us understand the mandate, the achievements, challenges, and future plans in the efforts by NETFund to promote sustainable environmental management in Kenya. So if you have any questions on what exactly is happening around environmental mobilization of resources and also financing in that regard, this is that interview for you. But let me first introduce him. We get to know his mandate, and then we get to know the mandate of the National Environmental Trust Fund. Welcome to the show, Bwana Director.
Thank you.
Right. How is it? How's your morning, first of all?
Very good.
Yeah.
It's not chilly today.
Right.
So it's good.
It's manageable.
Yeah.
Let's get straight into it. You are the Director of Resource, and you are specifically taking care of resource mobilization. Maybe tell us about your role a bit there, and then we can segue into NETFund.
Okay, thank you very much. Dr. James Njagu is my name, not Njau, but Njagu. I am the Director responsible for resources mobilization and programs in NETFund. And basically, as the word says, is about ensuring that there are enough resources to fund environment programs. This organization is a specialized state corporation under the Ministry of Environment with a sole mandate of ensuring that there are resources available to address matters of environment, matters of climate change, matters of afforestation, and basically to support the environment sector. So that's where I'm directing that mandate, which is the sole mandate of NETFund.
Right. What are the, now that you're looking at environmental challenges, what are some of those that Kenya specifically is experiencing that you have noted?
Okay. The very first one, when you think about the environmental challenges in Kenya, the very first one is about the forest cover. The forest cover is about 8%. In our constitution, it is even mentioned that they should not be below 10%. the UN standard is that we should be above 10%. Compared with our neighbors, like Tanzania, Democratic Republic of Congo, we are very low. Tanzania is over 40%, and the same thing with DRC. So the first challenge is about environmental degradation. We need to take care of our forests, of our water towers, and ensure that they are not degraded. So degradation is one of the very first challenges. And the second one is about how we deal with the issues of waste management. You look at our urban centers, this is a very big issue. And then we are all dealing with the effects of climate change. This is not only for Kenya, but all over the globe. It's a big issue, it's a big problem, so we must be steadfast and very, very prepared on how to mitigate the effects of climate change.
Right.
Yeah.
The conversation on environmental and climate financing, I think it's a new term in Kenya. How is the situation like in climate financing? Maybe you can tell us what climate financing is, environmental financing, and then we can see how the situation is like in Kenya.
Basically, it's about the resources available to support matters of environment conservation, matters of mitigating climate change. And I want to say this, that for a long time, we have been very good in prioritizing and directing our resources to health, to education, to agriculture. But today, it's very clear in everyone's mind that the issues of environment and climate change are so serious such that they affect all the other sectors. And I want to tell you this, that the nationally determined contributions, when some calculations are done, it's like in Kenya, we require about 60 billion to address matters of environment. I want even to bring you down a bit. The president is committed to increasing the forest cover from 8% to 30%. That alone requires 500 billion Kenya shillings. So a lot of resources need to be mobilized to address matters of environment, matters of climate change, because environment is our we are talking about Mother Nature. Yeah. Everything else today is driven by what we have in our environment, the climate, the rainfall. We've just experienced long droughts. We have water shortage. Why? Because we've not conserved our water towers. We've degraded our forests. All the forests in Kenya have quite a big percentage of degradation, encroachment.
Right.
Yes.
Okay. I've noticed there you've talked about the gap that is there, how much money is actually needed for us to be able to address issues of climate and also environment. What is NetFund doing to bridge this gap in financing, and how you as Director of Resource, how is resource mobilization happening towards the environment with NetFund?
Okay. Just to give you a small background, NetFund, the National Environment Trust Fund, was established by an act of parliament in 1999 called Environment Management and Coordination Act. But NetFund was not functional, or rather established, until 2006. But it was established as a department of NEMA. But then, in 2015, NetFund was fully established as a parastatal to lead in the efforts and coordinate all other actors in terms of mobilizing resources for environment. So what Net Fund is doing, number one, is looking at the resources from a number of angles. Number one, from the global funds. There are global funds that exist to support environment work. There is adaptation fund, there is the green, there is the JEF. There are a number of global funds, but also there are institutional donors, the official givers, the official aid givers who support environment work. But there is also private sector in Kenya who are very much interested. So the efforts or the role that Net Fund is playing is to bring all these actors together so that they can coordinate in terms of contributing to ecosystem restoration, waste management, and all these matters that will address climate change. And mainly, Net Fund promotes a sustainable approach. And that's why in the programs that we develop with other state agencies, we focus on things like tree planting, but that is not enough. But also livelihoods for the people living around the forest, because we ask ourselves questions. Why do people go inside forests for charcoal burning, looking for other resources, if they can be engaged in other activities that will remove them from the forest so that the forest can be conserved? So those are some of the programs. And we have an ecosystem approach where we have been prioritizing the most degraded forests. For example, Mau is the biggest water tower in Kenya. So that's one ecosystem where we are focusing in terms of getting resources. We are working in Kakamega Forest, the only rainforest that is remaining. And the issue there is that we are dealing with the issue of fencing the forest. We are together with the United Nations Development Program and the government of Japan. We've been able to mobilize about 400 million to do the fencing of Kakamega Forest. We've been working on another forest called Kaptagat. I know you've heard about another ecosystem called Cherengani, and that's where our focus is now. And together with the government of Italy, we've mobilized about 500 million to work on restoration of the various parts of Cherengani Forest, covering West Pokot and also Elgeyo Marakwet. So we have an integrated, sustainable approach where we identify spots that are highly degraded. We identify partners who are ready to partner with us on a number of activities, and we mobilize them, and we link them to some very specialized organizations under our ministry. For example, all the gazetted forests are under one organization called Kenya Forest Service. So actually, questions of planting trees and ensuring that the forests are protected and ensuring that they are not degraded lies with the Kenya Forest Service. There is also an organization called Kenya Forest Research Institute. These are the people who carry out research. They do seed matching. They know which trees will be best where. So they guide a lot in terms of seed production. There's also an agency called Kenya Water Towers Agency. And these ones only look at the protection of the gazetted and existing Kenya water towers. And there is NEMA, National Environment Management Agency. And they deal with issues of waste management, environmental management and conservation. So it's an integrated approach where we bring a number of implementing partners, and we also link with the people with the resources. Yeah,
Must make
funders.
you really happy to see these achievements in resource mobilization as director of that particular docket.
Yes, I'm excited. This year alone, this financial year, 2022-2023, we've been able to mobilize 1 billion Kenya shillings towards supporting a number of ecosystems. I've just mentioned to you about 500 million to Cherengani. We are also going to Lake Naivasha Basin. We are working in Kakamega. And also we are working in a place called Suswa and Magadi.
Right.
So I can say that NetFund is really taking lead in terms of identifying very pressing needs and developing them into projects and matching them with the demands from the development partners.
Right.
Yeah.
It seems that Kenya is in a good position to address issues of climate action and climate change. Maybe that will be your last remark to tell us whether you feel we will be able to handle these changes in climate conditions. But we've talked about achievements so far. Are there any challenges that you're facing, or is it all a smooth ride?
Okay. First, I want to say that there is goodwill from the government. There is appreciation and acknowledgement by the government that this is a matter that needs to be addressed, that the resources need to be channeled into this area of environment. But of course, there is competition for resources. That is the first challenge, that there are competing priorities by the government, even by the agencies in the ministry. But also the other challenge is that the biggest threat to our forests are not animals, are not external agencies, but our own people. They encroach the forest, they cut trees. So the biggest challenge is to see how we can sensitize the stakeholders, people living around forests, for them to know that this is our resource.
They can coexist peacefully.
And they can coexist peacefully. And conserving a water tower, conserving a water forest is not a favor to the government, but a favor to yourself. Because some of these water towers provide livelihood to so many people in terms of feeding a number of rivers. So that is one challenge, about sensitizing and educating people about the need to conserve and to protect the forests, and also the idea of channeling enough resources. And I can say we are on track in terms of addressing those challenges with the help of both the national government and the county governments, and also other actors. There are a lot of CBOs on the ground who are very much interested on matters environment.
All right. And as we saw also during the Earth Day, April 22nd, there are a lot of people out there who are interested in investing in our planet, the only one that we have. So I think that's a good call out. I'm just going to also make people aware of this very important, I think, webinar that is here. I'm seeing from NetFund, and this is going to, you can attend the Strategic Resource Mobilization Workshop in Naivasha from the 23rd to the 26th of May, 2023. And I see here the theme is Shaping Resource Mobilization Strategies for Increased Funding.
Yes. Yeah. One of the things that we do as a NetFund, apart from participating in active engagement with the development partners, active engagement with the private sector, active engagement with the people in the diaspora, so that they can support matters of environment. We also build the capacity of NGOs, of CBOs, of faith-based organizations, of the counties. We build their capacities so that they can gain skills and know how do we go ahead in terms of mobilizing resources. Because mobilizing resources is a skill, is knowledge that is required. So every quarter, we organize open trainings for people interested, and especially in raising resources on matters of environment. So this May, we shall be having a training on resources mobilization. And I think after that, we'll have a training on developing winning proposals. Because we would want to bring so many actors into mobilizing resources for environment. We don't want to monopolize the role of mobilizing resources as NetFund, but we would want to mobilize and recruit as many actors as possible into the business of mobilizing resources. So if you're available, you are invited to the workshop that will be held in Biashara. And we do this in partnership with Kenya Association of Fundraising Professionals, because there is that body that exists that brings together professionals in the area of fundraising.
Okay.
Yeah.
You can check out that workshop when it's happening. Check out NetFund on social media or on their website, netfund.go.ke. As you can see on the screen there, Dr. James Njagu will be there as the Director, Resource Mobilization NetFund, as one of the featured speakers. Jackie Mathaga, board member at Aided Foundation, and James Gatere, head of I&M Foundation. For residents, you will be charged $75,000 for registration, and non-residents $750 or £650, as the information has been relayed there. Euros, that's euros, yes, as the information there on the screen. Finally, before I get your last remark, because I think as Director of Resource Mobilization, your mandate is very key in what a NetFund is trying to do. I think I will dare say it's core in the business of NetFund. On an individual level, I'd like you to maybe appeal to someone who's a citizen, maybe they're not a CBO, an FPO, on how they can mobilize resources around their life to ensure that they're taking care of the environment, and also that they are conscious of what is happening in terms of the climate. But as you do that, as I give you a chance to think about that and give us a last word there, I have seen there's a congratulatory message from NetFund here, and I think maybe also from KUTV Kenya, to Mr. David Maure Waihiga, who was a presidential candidate last year in the Kenya general elections. He's been appointed as the chairperson of NetFund's Board of Trustees. So I think seeing this and also seeing you here, you have a wealth of experts to direct or to drive the mandate of NetFund.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yesterday, we had a chance to receive the Mr. David Maure Waihiga, who was among the 4 presidential candidates last year. And we are happy to be associated with him now. He has taken over as the chairman of the Board of Trustees. So he came to our office yesterday. We welcomed him, we invited him, and we had a nice breaking session yesterday, which was very, very good. We are really looking forward. He is a very passionate person on matters of environment, and actually, he comes from one of the water towers. So this is something that is very passionate in his heart. Now, about mobilizing resources, I want to tell you that in terms of the resources needed for development, including environment, I just want to tell you there are enough resources in the world. There are people who are official givers of resources. But the resources need to be sought for. That's why we talk about mobilizing resources. So what I would tell you, prepare a very good appeal, prepare a very good project, prepare a very good proposal, but your appeal or proposal must meet basically 3 standards or criteria. Number 1, it must appeal to the head. One should be able to reason with it that if we do this, we are going to achieve this, we are going to have these beneficiaries, and we are going to have impact. But appealing to the head is not enough. You also have to appeal to the heart. Is this something that one can get emotional about? And then after you appeal to the heart, you must appeal to the pocket. Is it affordable? So please, we can all be involved in mobilizing resources at the local level, at county level, at national level, and globally. But the resources exist. People have resources in their pockets. Organizations have resources. Private sector, they have resources. So we need just to help them come together and channel these resources to usable and impactful ways that will help in conserving the environment. So I invite those people who have some resources set aside to prioritize now and put matters of environment as priority number 1. For private sector who do CSR, please prioritize environment as number 1. For institutions of higher learning, like KU, high schools, primary schools, you can also prioritize matters of environment and even plant trees in your own schools. Start conservation in your own institutions. For academic institutions, start building a body of knowledge on matters of mobilizing resources. Offer courses on fundraising so that we can be able to bring all these resources. Lastly, I want to say that when we check with the funding institutions, I mean institutions who have no any other business but to fund projects, most of them are not able or were not able to achieve their targets of giving in 2021. They had to return some of their monies to their organizations because they were not able to give everything. Wow. So you can see the irony and the gap.
That's true.
That people are dying of poverty, forests are getting degraded. The song that we keep singing is that there is shortage of resources. We have no money. But there is another group
that has so much money.
Their problem is that we are unable to give as we had planned. We had planned to give 100 billion US dollars, but we only managed to give 60% of that. So to bridge that gap, we need to involve ourselves and increase our knowledge and our skills in terms of mobilizing resources.
Right.
NetFund is providing that solution by building capacity of all the stakeholders and people interested in that.
All right.
Yes.
Thank you very much, Dr. James Njogu, for creating time for me this morning. That is Dr. James Njogu, who is the Director of Resource Mobilization at NetFund. It's a state corporation mandated to mobilize resources for sustainable environmental management in Kenya. And as I close up, I think I want to recap on one thing that he said there. Appeal to the head while you're writing those proposals, we're doing proposals towards resource mobilization. Appeal to the head, appeal to the heart, and then appeal to the pocket. Yes. We'll be right back with Biashara Tuesday. Don't go.
everyone, this is the new chapter of Let's Be Fit. I'll be host DiCaplo. I'm here to give you various workouts. I'll be having different trainers. We'll have Zumba classes, we'll have aerobics classes, we'll have box exercise, we'll have kata box, just name them. The show comes every Thursday from 6:30 a.m. to 7 a.m. Keep it locked. Make sure we keep fit. And that's it from me to you. Let's be fit.
Excuse me, what a surprise to see you, Papa.
We go way, way back.
I will discuss this with you later, and with your mother, of course.
Nobody cares.
So what do you recommend as a starter, Zahara?
Hello, love.
What I want is for her to suffer, make her suffer.
But just remember this. It's you who is tearing this entire family apart.
Badala ya kutafuta kazi, tunaweza kuanzisha miradi yetu ambayo ingetusaidia kubadilisha maisha ya wazazi wetu.
Kwa vijana wenzangu, wengi hawana kazi, lakini ikiwa sisi wenyewe tutajiamini, tunaweza kujiajiri wenyewe.
Afrika kwa kweli tuna mahitaji ambayo ukiyasuluhisha unaweza kuathiri watu kwenye bara hili
bila uoga. Watu huwa na uzalishaji zaidi, wanajawa na ujasiri, wanakuwa wabunifu na wanakuwa wenye maarifa.
Niliamua kuacha kazi. Hata kama sitafanikiwa, nitakuwa nimejaribu, nitakuwa najua haiwezekani.
Hakuna kitu cha ajabu hapa. Kila anayepata ufanisi hufanya kazi usiku na mchana.
Kitu kitakusukuma na kuwezesha kupata maarifa ambayo hukuwa nayo.
Tunajaribu kutengeneza kitu kitakachopita mipaka nchi hii.
Ikiwa unataka kubadilisha ulimwengu, anza na nyumbani.
Technology, science, innovation, ICT and research. These are the ingredients upon which the solutions to the 21st century problems are founded. In a world that is rapidly changing, it's all hands on deck to ensure a balance in all fields of life. Women, young and old, are also in the front line, breaking the glass ceiling, becoming thought leaders in the larger tech space. Not forgetting other societies marginalized. And when the tech Avengers come together, we inch closer to a much safer, efficient, and sustainable world. What we view as a norm in today's advanced world was just an idea, and for nostalgic reasons, we trace back to the iconic days to bring you the retro tech. On Tech Innovation Show, we encapsulate all the pillars of the fourth industrial revolution, decoded in a language, all for one for all. Every Monday at 8:30 as we push the mantra, keep learning something new each and every day. Only on KUTV, a new experience.
Maisha ni haya hivi, mwanaume ali. Sielewi yani hata neno moja. Yani tunasikia maboko likolo. Yani ukiniangalia tu mwamba huyu anafiti sehemu fulani. Wewe ni wewe inakaa. Without your love, I can't move on. Yo, that's your boy Rhino the Don. Keep watching and listening to KUTV.
to unanswered questions.
Guidelines to pursuing your rights and repossessing your property, intellectual or material.
This and more only on Law Matters.
Biashara Tuesday is live and streaming on Facebook, YouTube, and also on your television sets. Tell me where you are watching from. We've been having discussions from 7 in the morning. One on environmental conservation and funding towards the environment and matters of climate action there. The green economy, a conversation with NetFund. It's a state-mandated corporation which is geared towards resource mobilization for the environment. They have an event coming up in May 23rd to the 25th. You can check them out, netfund.go.ke. Alafu to get all the necessary information. If you have 75,000 bob, you can attend that webinar/workshop, which will be happening in Naivasha. Before that, I was having also here, as you can see there on the screen, that's the information on that webinar/workshop, which is happening in Naivasha. Please do register and get to know how to submit proposals. There's a lot. When this year started, I said it on the show, I said it on my social media handles, I say it everywhere I go. If you're going to innovate this year, think about innovating around sustainability. That's where all the money is. The director of resource mobilization said there are people, the irony is that there are funds which are supposed to be channeled towards these proposals, but there are not enough proposals to match the amount of money. So kindly be thinking about that as well. Earlier, we had a discussion on software development with Alex Kemboi. He's a politician, but also a software developer who's trying to promote digitization in his own backyard at Keses constituency, but also trying to tell you guys to warm up to software development and also keep pace with changes in the world of technology. Right now, I have with me 3 copies. One is the Daily Nation, the other one is the Business Daily, and the Standard. I have a guest with me. I'll be introducing him to you in a short while, but now, first, before we get into what has happened in the dailies this morning, it's important we put it into perspective with the news updates from yesterday night leading up to this morning, and then we'll continue. All right, we begin with the crisis in Sudan. Foreign Affairs CS Alfred Mutua has said that 29 Kenyan students have been airlifted from Sudan as fighting in that country persists between the paramilitary Rapid Support Forces, RSF, and the Sudan Army. Kenya has evacuated those 29 students who were stranded in Sudan as more than 300 Kenyans await that same evacuation.
A vicious power struggle between the regular Sudan army and a powerful paramilitary force has led to violence across the country. A number of governments have begun to evacuate their citizens out of Sudan as fierce fighting rages on, showing no sign of a truce. Foreign and Diaspora Affairs Cabinet Secretary Alfred Mutua reports that the government has started evacuating Kenyans from Sudan. Mutua said his ministry has already engaged 3 evacuation programs for Kenyans in Sudan. Kenya has evacuated 29 Kenyan students who are stranded in Sudan due to the ongoing crisis, with more than 300 Kenyans awaiting evacuation. A list of countries have managed to evacuate some of their diplomats as from Sunday and Monday, as the evacuation efforts are ongoing. Among them Kenya, United States, United Kingdom, French, Germany, Dutch, Italy, and Spain. The Intergovernmental Authority on Development, IGAD, stepped up efforts to end the war in Sudan by appointing 3 regional heads of state: President William Ruto, his South Sudanese counterpart Salva Kiir, and Djibouti's President Ismail Omar to mediate between the army and a paramilitary group. However, a larger group of Kenyans has been left behind in Sudan awaiting evacuation. Dorothy Mosioka, KUTV.
Over in the coastal region, President William Ruto has called for the prosecution of Pastor Paul Mackenzie of Goodwill International over the deaths of a number of his followers whose bodies were discovered buried at Shakahola Forest in Kilifi. The Inspector General of Police, Japhet Koome, has confirmed that 26 bodies have been retrieved as of yesterday, doubling the death toll to 73. Take a look.
As the operation in Shakahola village to dig up graves continues with the aim of establishing the number of people who died in the hands of Pastor Paul Mackenzie after being manipulated into fasting till death, the country has been left starstruck in what has been termed as a cult activity. President William Ruto has for the first time weighed in on Pastor Mackenzie's controversial International Goodwill Church, likening him to a terrorist who uses religion to advance what he described as weird and unacceptable ideologies.
People who are masquerading as religious people, yet what they do is contrary to the teachings and to the beliefs of religion, whether they are Christians, Muslim, or indeed any other religion. Terrorists use religion to advance their heinous acts. People like Mr. Mackenzie are using religion to do exactly the same thing.
Confirming today's retrieval operation, Inspector General of Police Japhet Koome said that 58 have been reported dead, including those who died on their way to hospital. 29 others have been rescued. However, as of Monday evening, 73 people were reported dead after 15 more bodies were retrieved. The National Assembly Minority Leader Opiyo Wandayi also weighed in on the Shakahola massacre, noting that the government should come up with ways to stop deranged and criminal characters from destroying humanity in the name of religion. Interior Cabinet Secretary Kithure Kindiki on Sunday, April 23rd, deployed police to the village to seal off the forest where the mass graves were unearthed. He stated that a multi-agency security team was unraveling the death linked to the fasting ahead of his visit in the area on Tuesday, April 25th.
Still with the President William Ruto has commissioned a cyber knife at Kenyatta University Teaching and Referral Research Hospital, which will be used to provide better health services for non-communicable diseases in the country. President Ruto stated that Kenyans will no longer have to travel abroad to seek advanced cancer treatment, highlighting that the government's commitment to harness the post-pandemic recovery momentum to reverse the growing burden of non-communicable diseases.
President William Ruto, in the company of Health Cabinet Secretary Susan Nyakumicha and other political leaders, graced over the launch of Cyberknife Center at Kenyatta University Teaching, Referral and Research Hospital, with the center now becoming the second in Africa. Speaking during the launch, the head of state revealed that he and his team from the Ministry of Health were working on new amendments to the NHIF Act, which would be presented to the Parliament. According to Ruto, the universal healthcare will fully facilitate the cost of medication.
It is also important to accompany this development program with interventions to radically bring down the cost of treatment to a level where it is no longer a barrier to access for the majority of Kenyans. We have already agreed with the ministry on how we are going to deliver on the critical equipment that are required for the proper functioning of our health facilities across the country in a manner that is cost effective.
Additionally, according to President Ruto, he has donated 30 acres of land to the WHO organization for the construction of a regional health emergency hub and training center, adding that the government would reap a lot of benefits from its partnership with WHO, including the creation of employment opportunities.
This provision leaves adequate land available for the future expansion of the university and this hospital. The MOU signed today provides a framework under which Kenya and WHO will collaborate in health, training, and rescue efforts during disaster and other emergencies.
Accompanying leaders led by Health Cabinet Secretary Susan Nyakumicha thanked Kenyatta University Teaching Referral and Research Hospital Management for the great step it has taken in ensuring that cancer patients receive high standardized medical facilities, with the number praising today's technology for its great.
Being able to take care of cancer, they are also providing care and expertise to the other centers through the hub and spoke model. And I am aware, Your Excellency, that this institution has already signed MOUs with our different cancer centers, and they are able to provide that expertise.
We all owe it to the team here to really congratulate them in taking this very bold step and making Kenya one of the first.
This is a world-class facility that we in the judiciary found fit to patronize. And I'm here to encourage other government agencies, public bodies, also to try and patronize.
The treatment is an outpatient procedure and does not require hospitalization, and recovery is often immediate. Edward Nyamo, KUTV.
All right, still with President William Ruto, on Monday, he presided over the Kenya Prisons Cadets Pass-Out Parade at the Prison Staff Training College in Ruiru, Kiambu County. The president has lauded the prisons authority for aligning its policies, procedures, and standards with the Constitution and the government's development agenda.
President William Ruto, accompanied by the Prime Cabinet Secretary Musalia Mudavadi, has today presided over the 26th Pass-Out Parade of Kenya Prisons Cadets at Prison Staff Training College in Ruiru, Kiambu County, where 222 cadets graduated after 13 months of training. The president congratulated the cadets for making it to the end of the training, and the State Department specifically for planting over 443,000 trees, and promised to provide committed tractors to prisons to put under production over 8,000 acres in prisons to produce food and support food efficiency.
We are going to provide, as I committed, 67 new tractors and other implements and equipment that will enable the prison department in the lands that they have to put under production 8,000 acres to produce maize, to produce rice, vegetables.
Ruto also promised the completion of the infrastructure in prisons before the end of the year and opening of them by the Cabinet Secretary for usage by prison servants during his speech in Ruiru. He also emphasized on alternatives to imprisonment for minor sentences to reduce congestion in the prisons.
41% of the prison population is awaiting trial for bailable offenses. All these people need not be incarcerated. It is important for stakeholders in the justice ecosystem to seriously implement alternative dispute resolution and to consider alternatives to imprisonment for relatively minor sentences.
Principal Secretary, State Department for Correctional Services, Mary Muthoni, says that they are confident as a department on the cadets and expect that once they are posted in their different workstations, they will provide efficient and effective services to the people without bias. Salma Swaleh, KUTV.
So now, in the wake of high cost of living, the president last week announced that the price of unga is expected to drop further as Kenyans await farmers to harvest. However, a week after the announcement, Kenyans claim that they have not had an access to the cheap unga since the announcement. Our reporter, Ruth Wanjiru, sampled views from a couple of Kenyans and filed this report.
The unga price drop debate has been hitting the headlines for a while. In his efforts to help Kenyans cushion the tough economic times, President William Ruto announced that unga prices are expected to drop further for Kenyans to get the commodity at a cheaper price. However, a week later after his announcement, Kenyans lament that the cheap unga has not been available in their local shops. Priscilla Nambro, a Kibera resident, cites that there has not been any difference in the unga prices as she still buys the commodity at a normal price. She also urged President Ruto to ensure that cheap unga retails in the local shops.
Mi ningeomba akipunguza unga, sana watu watembee kwa kijiji juu kwa kijiji kusukiza kitu inakuanga ngumu sana. Sasa akichukua watu watembee huko kwa maduka angalau watupunguzie tutasikia mzuri.
While sharing his sentiments, Peter Kamau, who resides in Eastland, stated that he has not come across the cheap unga even after looking for the commodity severally.
Unajua sisi tunaambiwa. Sisi wakati umefika sio kuambiwa ni kuona. Sisi tunataka kuona. Mimi pahali niko sijaona, hata nimetafuta. Hata nimetoka huko nimekuja hapa Nairobi kutafuta. Juu ninadhani labda inauzwa Nairobi. Nimepata hakuna. So sijaona bei imeenda chini. Pahali ilikuwa ni iko hapo hapo.
On his part, Robert Ouko, a resident from Kayole, states that though the government is making efforts to help reduce the cost of living, the common mwananchi still suffers as the claimed cheap unga doesn't reach them.
Ombi langu ningeomba kama rais yeye mwenyewe angejifanya tu akae kama mwananchi nomo, apite kwa supermarket, asiwe anapelekewa ujumbe pale unga iko 230, unga iko 150, unga iko 120. La, yatutaki hilo. Yeye mwenyewe afanye upelelezi mwenyewe. Acho ni kweli unga ni 120 au ni 150.
According to President Ruto, unga prices are expected to drop further, but the question of whether Kenyans can access the commodity at cheaper prices still remain unanswered.
As President Ruto continues to promise a further drop in the prices of unga, Kenya still claims that these prices have not reached their areas. As this continues, the Azimio coalition still holds its stand that they are going to go back to the streets should their demand on the drop of high cost of living be ignored by the government. Ruth Wanjiru, KUTV.
All right, we are still continuing with the news updates. I'm just having a conversation with my guest on those developments. We are coming back with the newspaper review, so be tuned into that. A very heated discussion we're having off air, and I'm sure it's going to be interesting when we are coming back with that section. Down the ranks, Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua held a bilateral meeting with Botswana President Dr. Eric Mokogwetsi Masisi in Gaborone yesterday morning, in which he made a strong welfare case for Kenyans living and working in Botswana. The DP was keen on having President Masisi intervene to ensure that Kenyans in the South African country are enabled to get work permits without long processes.
Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua held a bilateral meeting today with Botswana President Eric Masisi in Gaborone, where he intervened on the welfare of Kenyans living in Botswana. At the meeting, Gachagua requested for President Masisi to relook into the issue of renewal of residence and work permits for Kenyans in the various parts of Botswana, as this was one of the concerns raised when DP met Kenyans in Botswana.
They are requesting that Your Excellency and your government to consider that those who have existing permits, unless there are adverse reports about their behavior in this great country, you kindly allow them, renew them.
The DP was in the company of Rosalind Njogu, who was the Principal Secretary for Diaspora Affairs, spouse Dorcas Rigathi, and Kenya's High Commissioner Mohamed Shideh said based on the cordial relations between the two countries, there is need to deepen trade.
We are looking forward to hosting you in Kenya for the UN Habitat Summit and to have bilateral with the President William Ruto, again to strengthen our relation.
He added that Nairobi, being an economic hub in the region,
there lies many potential opportunities for collaboration. Mr. Gachagua went on and invited the president to visit Kenya together with a delegation of business people to see the available opportunities. The deputy president is in Botswana on a 4-day working tour, where he is representing President William Ruto at the second edition of Forbes 30 Under 30 Africa Summit. He will speak and take part in interactive discussions at this summit, which brings the youth together.
All right, that's all we had here this morning on the KUTV news updates on Rise today. Let me read just a little bit of feedback, and then I'll be coming back with the newspaper review in just a short while. I'm giving you time to rush out, grab yourself a copy, or type online and find something relevant for today. So if you have the Star or the People's Daily, I'd love to know what the headlines are looking like right over there. But shout out to Wahoo Tracy, who's tuned in. It's a shame that we are at 8% forest cover while our neighbors are at 40%. We need to plant more trees. We had a conversation on the green economy and the state of Kenya in terms of forest cover as compared to its neighbors. The Net Fund Director of Resource Mobilization, Dr. Njagu, told us that Kenya is at 8% while Tanzania is at 40%, and Wahoo Tracy is not happy about that. Sue Sheila, bring more of this kind of people. We need such brains in Kenya. There's another brain coming up, and you should be tuning into that discussion, which is revolving around the newspapers, another sharp brain within Kenya. Avush Badadilod, good morning. Biashara Tuesday, locked in live from Kasarani, Nairobi. Keep up the good work. I am enjoying the show. Welcome to the show. Frank, every Tuesday is a day to learn so much. Thanks to the host, Richard Okenye, for the wisdom. Oh, wise one. Watching from Kerioga, Kirinyaga, big up, Kazi, Safi, shukran sana. Wanjiku, Wanjiru, loving the show from Kimbo Ruiru, a powerful interview with a visionary leader. I think those are reactions from previous conversations, but there are more visionary leaders who are coming up on the show. You don't want to miss out on that. Winston Odhiambo, such an informative session. Asante sana for tuning in. Tell us where you are watching from. Fishware, you're tuned in from Nairobi, Kenya. The show is amazing. Asante sana Fishware for being a regular here. Be checking out Fishware 2020. A shameless plug there for him. Frederick Akiri, always ready to beat this cold and watch the show. More people who are tuning in here. Lofty MT, watching from Parklands, and also others on Twitter, who I will be getting to in just a short while. Continue tagging me and tagging the station. The handles are somewhere on the screen, at KUTV Kenya, at Richard_Okenye. Grab yourself a copy of the papers. We're back with a heated discussion. We're still on air with Biashara Tuesday. Here with me on the show, has been there before, is the president of the TVET Students Association, Kimani Wachira. He's been on the show before to speak about the troubles of TVET institutions and what students can do to adapt, of course, and what we can do to improve the situation in our TVETs. Today, though, he's here on his capacity as the president of the association, which means matters of politics are very key to his operations as the president of this association, but also a future leader. I'm sure he has a vision that he can share with us a bit later in matters of politics. But welcome to the show another time.
Thank you very much.
Karibu tena sana.
I'm happy and proud to be here. We got great feedback when we were here, and thank you for hosting us again, so that we can discuss and dissect politics, because I understand that politics and perception is all that determines the growth of a nation.
All right, definitely. Do you have a social media handle? I think I want them to tag you, ndio maswali zikikuja pia wanazipata. Social media handle?
Pale kwa Twitter utanipata kama Kimani wa Wachira, on Facebook Kimani wa Wachira, and all other social media handles Twitter has the difference as Kimaniwa Washira. That's how I call myself.
All right.
Yes.
I hope that the Association of Students is also tuning in. Kama uko na maswali for the president, if you want to give him a shout out, this is the time. But the business of the moment is what is in the dailies. Bashira, I think ningependa tuanze na the headlines. Let me see. My best headline today is the Standard. I love it when it's brief. I love it when it's on current events. And also when it's on point. Today I don't see Raila on the front of the pages, so that's a good thing from all the editors. But the one who's won the headline today is the Standard, and it reads Cult Massacre. This has been the conversation on social platforms and offline as well. The name cult has gained momentum, and I'm going to be reading the definition of a cult and a religion. I think that's also a discussion that is heated on Twitter. There's so much feedback that I'll be looking at as well. But troubled religion. Questions abound after more than 70 bodies of cult victims were dug up in graves on land said to belong to Pastor Paul Mackenzie. Is there a recruiting agency? Why didn't the intelligence community smell a rat in spite of too many telltale signs? Did local police look the other way as gullible faithful were lured into their deaths? Is it time to regulate religious activities? That's my best headline, the Standard, Cult Massacre. And as you can read there from that small snippet, the questions asked there are very pertinent. And I think the editor there was on point. I don't know if you share the same sentiments or which is your best headline.
If I was the editor, I would have said Shakahora Massacre, religious terrorism. Two statements, brief, and explaining everything, because this is just exposing what has been happening that has not been exposed yet. But I'll also go with you that the Standard got it right when it came to the headlines, but I'll go with the photo for the Daily Nation.
Okay.
Because on the beside of the Daily Nation, they have the three guys, the three young kids.
All right.
The eldest being 21, 14, and 17. It shows, or it explains further, the problem is not only to those who are above 18, who can, we will say, have reached the age of consent also, and also miaka ya kukua naweza kutengeneza decision poor, but mpaka watoto wadogo have been victims of this massacre. So
the picture on the Daily Nation paired with your headline, which is, I think, a remix of what the Standard has put there. I will agree there, because even the president himself likened Paul Mackenzie's activities to those of terrorists who use religion to radicalize. And in his own words, you can get to read on page 5 of the Daily Nation. But we are going to get into that in a bit. The Daily Nation's headline reads Shakahola Horror. Shakahola horror deaths jump to 73. I think they failed. This sounds like a sentence in one of the paragraphs, so I don't think this will have been, this has made a good headline. However, the death toll there, you can see, is now at 73, official record as of this morning. Police exhumed another 26 bodies from multiple graves in Pastor Paul Mackenzie's Shakahola village farm in Kilifi yesterday, taking the toll to 65, with 8 other church members who had been rescued succumbing in hospital. But the search for bodies is not yet over amid reports of controversial pastor who is now warned of consequences. Before we get into that, I was going to read here the definition of the word cult. Cult is a term considered by some, or relatively a small group, which is typically led by a charismatic and self-appointed leader who excessively controls its members, requiring unwavering devotion to a set of beliefs and practices which are considered to be deviant. So that's a cult controlled by a self-appointed leader who is requiring that the members follow through strictly with the practices in a manner that is considered to be deviant. This is what a religion means. It is the belief in and worship of a superhuman power or powers, especially a god or god. It's a particular system of faith and worship, and it's a pursuit or interest followed with great devotion. So that's the difference between a cult and a religion. That's a discussion that has been happening yesterday on social media. I'm sure you've seen that. Everyone is pointing fingers. Hii mnasema cult hiyo fulani, na wewe siko kwa cult fulani.
Fulani ni cult fulani. And I have seen those jokes and that began during campaigns. There's the former, the wife to Raila Amolo Odinga, Mama Ida Odinga had suggested that we should regulate religion, and everybody was gun-blazing at her. Now we are here. Those who were gun-blazing are now in the government, saying that we need to regulate the religion. And then those who supported Mama, now in opposition, saying, no, you guys are also another cult. So
that is another cult.
That is another cult, on how you were able to manipulate. But that is what they are saying on the streets. And I understand those are not my views, but that is the views of those on the Twitter streets and Facebook.
Right. Okay, are we all, before we get into this again, we've done a lot of prologue there, but I think it's necessary. Do you think that we are all gullible? Because the conversation now happening is, these are mostly kids, it's illiterate people, or people who don't have enough education, or do not have enough exposure. If they are learning to a certain level, they won't be susceptible to this kind of activity. Do you feel there's someone who's not susceptible to being gullible to something like this?
Honestly, I have seen an air hostess who is rich, as covered by the Standard page 4, sold things worth 7 million, buy a one-way ticket to Mombasa, to Kilifi, and subscribes to this cultism. Nobody is above these teachings, because this is religious terrorism, which has been a problem in Christianity and also in Muslims. So nobody is above their teachings, because they are able to manipulate our brains. They are able to have teach this doctrine in a way that everybody is able to buy the gospel. So
no one should lie to themselves that they can. They should just be aware of the telltale signs, as has been said here on the Standard. The questions which are being raised, first of all, is there a recruiting agency? Why didn't the intelligence community smell a rat in spite of too many telltale signs? Did local police look the other way as gullible faithful were lured into their debt? Is it time to regulate religious activities? Washira, I'm going to, I think let's address these questions, and then there's a very interesting comment here from Paul Mackenzie himself, warning of the dire consequences of following through with this investigation. Did the police look the other way? Is there someone to blame, or are we going to be engaging in a blame game?
Kenya is a nation that is known for blame games. Everybody will want to blame somebody, but it is time we now take responsibility. This Shakahola massacre would not have happened if, when Mackenzie was taken to court the first time, the police would have done their work, investigated, came with conclusive investigation evidence, such that when the office of the prosecutor goes to take this and table this evidence, he will have found guilty. But currently, we'll just play blame games, because I have seen he was arrested in 2019. I had also seen that sometimes back, the current CS had said that they are going to storm the church because the pastor is teaching doctrines about student dropping and banning academic papers. We have also seen that his church was banned by Ezekiel Mutua. All that shows that we have failed, various arms of the government have failed, especially National Intelligence Services, the DCI. Where were they when somebody travels all the way from Nyanza, Migori, Kisii, Kisumu to Mombasa? Where were they? Also in that village, there are village elders, wazee wa nyumba kumi. We have the DCs, the chiefs, and all government officials who are seeing members are coming, they are not leaving. It is said that he has been a previous, I saw the Standard called him up from pastor, from a taxi driver
to a pastor. that's when he began his business in Malindi. He started a taxi business, and then, you know, eventually, this is way back in 1997. So he's been in the coast for some time now, probably maybe studying a few things here and there and seeing the terrain and all of that, and then eventually now moved to deliver the word of whatever it is that is being taught there, because they're saying it's the word of God. They're using the Bible as it is. However, the activities do not fall in line with what is required. The government does actually have an act or regulation around this. In 2015, the government came up with laws requiring that clerics submit certificate of good conduct and also to provide information on their theological training. And where it happened. So they need to have a certificate of theological training and also need to have a certificate of good conduct. I think this also happened around the time of Kupanda Mbegu. Yeah, you remember?
And Kanyari,
yeah,
was
310, 210,
Yeah.
and 410 and whatnot. So can we say that there was laxity in the authorities who are supposed to be checking whether this guy has the necessary certification?
Yes, we can say there is negligence and in the part of the government. One, the government has always been lenient when it comes to religion, and especially when I go back, we dwell into Christianity. We have seen nations like Rwanda develop strict frameworks to regulate churches so that the doctrine that is taught is the doctrine that is viable and follows the teachings of a certain book, in this case, the Bible. In Kenya, that motion was brought in 2015. The same clergy went gun blazing, saying, no, you want to introduce taxes. They brought hindrance and tried to manipulate the government to have leniencies in this registration. And I remember when the registration was being brought, it was addressing another cultism that was there and blackmail, where Kenyans were told to pay for blessings. They were told to send Britain so that things can happen, to buy mafuta, and other good words were used to manipulate this. This was at the same time that there were many registered stations offering biblical teachings, and also Mackenzie had one of the TV stations that was later switched off by Ezekiel Mutua.
Right.
And this shows you that this is it's nothing new. It is something that has been there, but the state has done, successful governments have done nothing to regulate these churches.
Right.
Because as a religion, we know where they get their doctrines from. The Bible, and also for the Muslim, the Quran. And I've done my research in the Bible. You find that most of our pastors depend on what is given to them by the followers. But if, there are various people we can run from in the Quran, in the Bible, who got their earnings or their daily bread from working. In the Quran, for example, Prophet Joseph was a CAS, probably in the current government, or a prime minister.
Yes.
In Quran, we have, if you come to the Christianity, Paul was a tent maker. Jesus' disciples were fishermen.
Yeah.
These are things that we can get doctrines from the Bible that shows how pastors or religious leaders should also have an extra source of income and not depending on contribution from followers.
I see the angle that you are approaching there. But also, I think the question that is being asked as well is the dilemma on how to conduct the charges against Pastor Mackenzie. According to the Commission for Human Rights and Justice Executive Director, Julius Ogogo, who is quoted here, he says that if some of these people who have been rescued refuse to cooperate, then action and actionable evidence pointing towards criminality will be very difficult to establish. If you've looked at some of those videos, the young kids who have joined the church and some of the other adults are saying that they are going there willingly. Anasema nani aliwaambia muache shule? Anasema tumesoma kwa Bible. Bible, Mungu anasema mambo ya masomo sio mpangilio wake. What do you feel would happen? Do we need to have strict laws and super regulation on churches, so that we can have a very clear line on what to persecute and what not, so that we don't have this sort of a gray area.
Arakuna.
Yes, because you see, Pastor Mackenzie was arrested some time back, released. That case is not yet complete, and still here we have something else. Maybe just before I get your reaction on regulation, let me read what he's warning the state in case it goes that route of trying to regulate or persecute him. Na alisema kwa Kiswahili, nachopigana nacho hamkijui na kitawaramba, nimewaambia kitawaramba. In English translation, this says, you don't know the magnitude of what you're fighting. You will soon face the consequences.
He's actually blackmailing the government and the judicial system. You know, we're all human, and this case is going to be heard by a judge, and he's who is also subscribes to a religion doctrine,
right?
And he's already threatening that of.
So he's sending fears earlier before he gets to see whoever.
And he has been able to doctrine kids who might not act as state agencies or state witnesses. I think it's time as a nation we go and benchmark from other nations who have had this. USA being one of the nations that we can benchmark from. Some of these things, some of us have seen them in movies, in the blacklist.
The Jim Jones of their time.
Yes.
Right.
And it's time as a nation we benchmark on which regulations can work for us. I saw a tweet that said that religion left Israel to Rome as a family. It left Rome to British as a political tool, but it came to Africa as a business. And the Standard has captured it well that this guy is a taxi driver, the guy who has brought this to the limelight. And when the tourism business was hurt by terrorism activities by Muslim extremists, Al-Shabaab, he also began his own terrorism, where he went back to his home area, began a church, then went to Mombasa, Malindi, now began the religious activities, which he closed the church in 2019, and then now transformed to a real cultism. Ideally, we need to have strict rules that will force our pastors to go back to the original doctrine.
Right.
I'm made aware, my father is a bishop. And when I told him that we are going to discuss this, he told me that, no, this thing is nothing new.
It's been there.
Jesus was in the temple whipping people who had transformed this religious institution
to a trading center.
The synagogue to a trading center. Even in the Muslim, who have also been subjected to religious terrorism, and Al-Shabaab being one of the closest rings in Kenya, have also suffered a big blow in under lack of registrations,
right?
Where people are taught and indoctrinated to things that are not found, or they misquote a certain verse of the Bible,
right,
and then introduce a million other words
to cover up
right, that are not captured in any religious or biblical and Quran teaching.
Right.
So
and this is how religious extremism builds up and able to brainwash people to join those extremist movements, and also some of this what we're seeing here with Pastor Mackenzie. Let me just maybe real quick read some feedback, because I see this is a very hot conversation, and time is also moving real quick. Bar Ngetunye Kiploa's a rap. Anasema, in the case of Prince versus Massachusetts, which is relied upon by the case of Jessica Ruki versus AG. If you're a legal mind, I think you will understand this. Might not be well versed in that. Religious freedom and practice could be limited where there is overriding interest in protecting and upholding public interest. So the government has enough grounds, according to Barngetun, to prosecute this man. Indoctrination of minors is also child abuse, says Murithi. So those are grounds to get this man arrested and charged as well. Sijuzi too, there are these people who are dying because of fasting. I think that's still the same case, Gathoni Ndungu, for that comment. Do we have NIS in Kenya? What are they saying about radicalization? I understand that the Director of Criminal Investigations, Mohammed Amin, arrived at the village in the afternoon yesterday, while Director of Public Prosecution, Nordin Haji, said his office will ask for more time to conduct investigations with possible charges of terrorism and religious radicalism. This I still consider a knee-jerk reaction, considering that in 2017 is when his church based in Malindi was established. He was prosecuted for radicalization, operating an unlicensed institution, a television station, which, as you mentioned, was pulled down, and denying children their right to education and medicine. Despite these charges, the county commissioner for Kilifi County claimed that the preacher's teachings will still go on, but he warned parents against allowing the children to join the church. A very last remark from you there, Washira, before we look at this very funny and satirical image by Ndula in the middle of the Daily Nation. Do parents have a responsibility here? Because most of these are minors, yeah? 73 people rescued, 52 of them were children back then. Right now, 73 bodies, most of them are children. Where are the parents?
Indeed, the parents have responsibility of their kids. We see that most of us are taken to churches by our parents. And also today, most of the churches services are happening on TVs and radio stations, and it's the parent who has the responsibility of ensuring that they are committal to what their kids are watching. If the parents were responsible enough, this Prophet Paul Mackenzie, or pastor, whatever he calls himself, will have nobody to indoctrinate, because parents will have taken responsibility. If parents regulated which shows their kids watch on TV, where do they go, or even where they take them to churches, we will not have been here. But now the problem is the same parent is also indoctrinated.
Right. So it's now in their family. It's a family problem.
To the kids. Probably going forward, we should the government should be proactive and be preventive, rather than taking measures when things have happened.
All right. Considering this is a government of faith, as it has been self-proclaiming since the beginning, this is their mandate. This is their docket. They should be addressing it. The cartoon at the middle of or on page 18 of the Daily Nation, I don't know if you can have it on the screen. There's a government here in the shape of an ostrich, I believe. Is this an ostrich?
Without a head.
Burying its head in the sand. There is doomsday cults, and those I think are Kenyans in leading themselves to death already, or in coffins. I think, going to fast until you die. And the government is like, we can see this. We are conducting our fast at State House and also prayer sessions across the country, but we can't see this one. Any comments? Any reactions?
It was very creative. And the government is there, captured as the ostrich, which is known to be very fast. And its head is buried deep down the sand. You cannot see anything. And then we have people, and I want to see these people are nicely dressed.
And they're carrying Bibles, some of them, or whatever.
They have coffins, rushing to various cults. And there is also the image. I was asking myself, why are they doing the shadow of this coffin?
All right.
It shows how dark it is. And also, if you look at the church, very dark.
Right. Very dark inside.
It is parody. It is. You ask yourself questions. We have every Sunday, we have the government leading this nation to prayers. But at the same time, we have more than 70 dead and more to be unveiled, because he's saying, mtashtuka chenye mtapata.
Very dark statements.
We are at, they have started doing this from the beginning of the farm. And it's a very huge and extensive farm.
Yeah.
I'm wondering what they are going to uncover before they get that to the end. And this cartoon had a lot of thought. There's a paper next to the government, that is there hanging.
Right.
And I was trying to see.
You think it could have a meaning, yeah?
I was trying to think what was this cartoonist
paper
trying to say.
With this paper here.
Probably it's the government promises on religious reforms. Very empty.
Yeah, very, very empty promises, yeah? And we're going to get into promises in a while, but you can follow up on that story on cult massacre. The Standard is calling cult massacre. The Daily Nation, Shakahola horror. That's a tongue twister. Shakahola horror. Deaths jump to 73. Moving away from that, all that stories to page 2, 3, 4, 5, also 3, 4, 5 on the Standard. Very detailed description of all that is developing there. We'll be following it up. You can check out KUTV's subsequent bulletins and programming to find out. Let's move a bit into the economy. It's 9:47 in the morning. I think we have about 5 minutes maximum to do this. I wanted us to also have a look at an issue which is highlighted here at the back of the Daily Nation. I want us to tie it down also to what is on the Business Daily's front pages. At the back of the Daily Nation, governors are issuing a 14-day notice over funds which have not been wired from the national government towards these counties. And they've given the government 2 weeks to wire that 94 billion to counties, failure to which they will shut down operations as the National Treasury is fighting back accusations that they are deliberately starving the devolved units of cash. Consequences of such is civil servants have not been paid since the year began in these counties. We've seen doctors are going on strike across several counties, and complaints, of course, from other various dockets, from the leadership to the workers of the counties. And I was going to pose a question to you there, given all this information, tying it with what is happening on the front of the Business Daily, where the national government is servicing debt more than it is using it on spending on items like these civil servant salaries that we are talking about here, the what is supposed to be remitted basically to these counties. Is devolution seeing its dark days? Did it work, or should we go back to the drawing board and rethink devolution?
The idea behind devolution was devolving funds from the national government to the county governments. It was a very good and noble idea that was supposed to benefit Kenyans. 10 years down the line, devolution worked. We have had 2 successful regimes and governance. We have had this being the third governing regime, and we have seen trickling down of resources from the national government to the county governments. But for the first time in the history of devolution, the government has failed to disburse resources for up to 3 months. Of up to 3 months. It has areas of up to 3 months. And this triggers the question, what is not happening?
Right.
We cannot say that the devolution is not working. Devolution is working. We have some county governments who have been able to raise funds from various places, loans, probably from their also revenues such as tax collection from parkings and whatever, to sustain a few activities. That's why we still don't have roaming shutdown in these counties.
Right.
So if these counties have been able to work 3 months without resources, that shows that devolution has really worked. But now the government, which should be the mother protector of the mother of devolution, is or has in the recent past, since the new regime came, the Hasra regime, been struggling devolution.
Right.
Before even
it's only a few months in, by the way, so it's not even. I wonder what will happen in 2 years' time.
Even before we go to what has not been disbursed, they have not given resources to the county government. But even before that, they have ensured that there is no added resources. That is last week, the bill to add resources to the county government was shut down.
Right.
Here we are, for the first time in the history of devolution, governance threatening to shut down. We have only seen shutdowns happen or threats happen in USA, where various governors say that we are going to do a shutdown. We don't know what this is. It is very new to us.
Right. We can't even comprehend exactly what a shutdown means. Does this mean they're doing away with the county government, or the governor is resigning, or his government is?
And it's very funny because this is not a wing in the opposition that is saying so. These are ardent Kenya Kwanza supporters who campaign for this government, and they are complaining. And you know, if I'm in the government, my complaint will be using very good words, sugarcoating the situations. This begs the questions the Wanjiku is asking. If these are UDA governors leading the council, saying that we are going to shut down, what is the bigger picture?
Right.
What is this statement saying? They are saying that they are going to introduce something new. We don't know how it's going to happen.
Right.
We don't know if they are going to tell people not to report to work. We don't know if they are going to tell their nurses and doctors and essential service providers. We really don't know.
Right.
But this is a very new phenomenon.
Right.
And that has been resorted to failure by the national government to be able to work within its means.
To support the county government.
Right. I know they are saying that they inherited a dilapidated economy, and also these governors also inherited a dilapidated
counties with pending bills.
Right. But at the same time, it is when we elected the government, we knew and they told us the economy is bad, so we don't expect excuses.
Right.
We expect implementation.
Okay.
Let the treasury release funds to the to the county government so that things can continue working.
All right. And the Senate I just want to wrap that up with that the Senate has approved the 407 billion, which is supposed to be allocated to counties. 370 billion. Actually, they refused the 407 billion. They're sticking with the previous allocation. So hopefully that will change things a bit. But let's find out. Now, Biashara, I think we have a lot to speak about in the papers. I'll just allow people to go and read further in their own copies and give us their reactions. I wish we had more time, but it's now 9:53 in the morning, and I had something prepared for you here. I know you were not aware of this, but chukua hii kwanza. We're going to do a few questions there between me and you. I'll read them out. Here's your pen. And then you answer them there.
You know, I'm a comrade. I was supposed to come with a Mwakenya bwana. You should have given me.
Tuko backbench. Tunaweza tumia simu. Tense.
As long as it will not be captured on me, I'm
You're okay,
I'm a truthful man.
Let's begin. Here's a question number 1. Who is the Microsoft founder? 10 seconds for that. All right. The next question there. What is the world's most valuable brand? What? What? Is there a most valuable brand? Next question. Which is the biggest internet store in the world? Which is the biggest internet store in the world? Which industry is the most prevalent in Kenya? That's the next question. Which industry is the most prevalent in Kenya? Inauma nje mbaya. What is the largest company in Kenya by revenue? Sikari. I'm trying to confuse him. They have all the revenue. I mean, what does Kenya export most? What does Kenya export most frequently? All right. What is Kenya's biggest port? Copy by the bro. A copy index 1. What name does Kenya's stock exchange go by? All right. Let's go real quick. The first one. Who's the founder of Microsoft? Let's switch papers kwanza. Real quick. Bill Gates. Sindio? Bill Gates. All right. Second question was? I jumped that one.
Yeah.
World's most valuable brand. What is that? Ameandika Versace.
Huyu hajaandika kitu.
Oh, it's Apple. Okay.
Okay.
Sijaandika kitu hapo. Third one. What is the biggest internet store in the world? I said Play Store. Which is Amazon.
Amazon. Oh my.
Ameandika nini hapa? Hii ni nini mzee?
Instagram.
Right, let's go. Which industry is the most prevalent in Kenya? I wrote agriculture, right? It is. Ameandika creative industry. Future. Inshallah. What is the largest company in Kenya by revenue? That's Safaricom PLC, no?
Safaricom.
It has to be Safaricom. Yeah. The next question was, what does Kenya export the most frequently? I wrote tea.
Yes.
It's tea. Umeandika nini hapa?
Agriculture produce.
Hiyo ni agriculture produce gani?
Tea is agriculture produce. It's not a rumor. It's not a propaganda.
What is Kenya's biggest... What was the question? Biggest port.
Was it the port or...
Port. Yeah. I think you had sports.
Yeah.
So I'll just give you half a mark for kusikia mbaya. But Port of Mombasa?
Yeah.
Yes. Then the last question there, what is the name of
Nairobi Stock Exchange?
Yeah, that's Nairobi Securities Exchange, NSC. So put up 4 bana.
You have a seat. You should see me after this because you had the OKENYE and you still got a seat.
I did have OKENYE.
You still have the OKENYE and got a seat. You should see me after this. I'm also going to nifungue server.
Tutafungua servers. Asante sana for having that conversation with me. We are glad to have had you here, and I think next time when we have more time, we'll get to dissect much more, right?
Yes.
Thank you for also this game. I hope it was a fun moment for you.
It was.
Yeah.
I know people were waiting for me to get for my grades to obey the rules of gravity, but unfortunately today I've deferred. I've disobeyed the rules of gravity.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. So please close up. I want to close the show with you. So let's close the show like you're a co-host, yeah? Pretend you're a TV presenter, and then let's do this, right? So you're going to do, your quote is here. Your quote is here, in the back of the business deal. That one. So you're going to close with this quote, and then I'm going to close with my own, right? So do your last remark, say goodbye, read the quote, and then I do the same. Let's go. It's on you.
Thank you very much for those who have joined us live and on other social media platforms. I have been your co-host, Kimani Washira. We need readers not in love with money, but in love with justice. Not in love with publicity, but in love with humanity. Readers who can subject their particular egos to the present urgency of the great cause of freedom. A time like this demands great readers. That is paraphrasing what Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. said.
All right, you can read yourself that last word at the back of the Business Daily. Thank you very much for keeping it here on Biashara Tuesday. Remember, we can talk even after this show on my personal handles at Richard_OKENYE. Let's keep the conversation going, and I'll be back here again with much more of what is happening in the world of business. Remember to follow the rest of KUTV's broadcasting and bulletins. Majioni hivi 6:30 utapata mizizi ya habari, alafu 9 p.m. you get prime time news. On Monday next week, Karen Blessing will be here in the morning for Art and Culture Monday. Alafu I come here and close it up with business on Biashara Tuesday. It's been amazing having you here from the whole team that is behind the camera, from my director and producer, Ryan Ngure. On the transmission desk is Frank Major Minor, and behind the camera are so many people I'll get to tell you about sometime later. If you want to have breakfast in bed,